Happy Sunday, everybody. Andy, Stephen, Corbin from WagerTalk.com. We are going over the road to millions on Sunday, November 12th. We've got 3 NFL best bets. We're going to go over the player props and final lines, alt lines and same game parlays, anytime touchdown scores, and then our big announcement comes at the end of the show. As you know, we always start off with some positive vibes, so let's take a look at the video from the other day and see how everyone's doing. And while we're doing this, guys, please hit the like button, leave us a comment, tell us how your road to millions is going, tell us your best bet, just tell us what's going good. So I love this. Generally super. Now I'm in a great mood for the whole day. Yeah, that's how. Thank you. Perfect comment. We're in a good mood. Thanks for the knowledge. My bankroll is growing. Beautiful. Love it. I have to give this person credit. He doesn't have his name here, but he's been commenting on this for a while, and I have no reason to argue with it. Can we change the sleeper of the day to sneaky play of the day? He loves the word sneaky. I kind of do too. I kind of like sneaky. It's pretty good. So
I don't hate it.
No, it's pretty good. So yeah, and then I love fading the Clippers. What a bunch of hateable players. Corbin?
Amen.
Corbin
They don't just have one; they now have multiple that I dislike.
Tons of them.
Take your pick.
So good stuff there, guys. So appreciate all the good comments. Let us get into. Let's just jump right in and take a look at some of these lines. Weather, the only game that looks like there's going to be a little bit of weather is in Seattle, and if there is any weather, it'll be towards the end of the game with some rain. As far as injuries, I don't think there's anything crazy y'all don't already know about. T. Higgins is out. Jamar Chase, he's questionable, but they have props out on him, so I'm assuming he's going to play. Now, he does have a bad back, so I would be very nervous about taking any Jamar Chase props. Trent Williams looks like he's going to play. He was listed as questionable. He just said, I'm going to play. So looks like San Francisco is going to be getting their best offensive lineman. Other than that, not a whole lot on the injury front that's breaking news this morning. So let's go ahead and jump in on the passing props here. Man, we got some doozy of matchups here. I will tell you guys, it's already down to minus 166. I like Derek Carr to not throw 1.5 touchdown passes. It's a Taysom Hill show whenever they get to the 10-yard line. So he's got to throw them from way out. The Vikings have been pretty good. They've held 4 straight quarterbacks under this total. And I think I mentioned this before. The ultimate kiss of death is I have Jalen Hurts on a fantasy team, and I'm starting Derek Carr this week, so I already know he's not going to throw a touchdown. I mean, this is just a guarantee. It's going to be 230 yards and no touchdowns when I start him on my bye week. So I like that one. Touchdown passes. You guys like anything touchdown pass wise, prop wise? Steve? Corbin, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I was looking at Dak Prescott over 1.5 passing touchdowns. It seems like a good price. The only concern I have with that, obviously, I'm expecting the Cowboys to put up a lot of touchdowns versus the Giants. Is I could quite easily see them getting some defensive touchdowns, a couple of runs. So he had 3 last week versus the Eagles, 4 versus the Rams, but also concerningly, he had 0 versus the Giants in week 1 when they blew them out. I think they had, was it 2 turnovers and a rushing touchdown or something? So
yeah, Pollard had his best game week 1.
Yeah.
So
who knows? But yeah, that's one I was looking at for passing touchdowns. So
Steve, you like any passing touchdown props?
Yeah, you can get some nice plus money on Will Levis over 1.5 passing touchdowns. It's plus 150. The Bucs defense is really strong against the run, and you can get at him through the air. And I'm expecting him to have a big day today, so I'm looking at that as a plus money play for the touchdowns.
I was interested in Jared Goff over 1.5. I wonder what this price would be if David Montgomery wasn't there. They're getting Montgomery back, but the Chargers still good against the run, bad against the pass. So minus 140, a little steep. And we'll get into passing yards right now. That was the biggest mover in the passing yards was Jared Goff. This thing was 266.5 Sunday morning, 277.5. That is an aggressive move, but it makes sense. Chargers giving up 297 through the air. So C.J. Stroud and Joe Burrow. Steve, Man, it's polarizing because Stroud's coming off of 470 yards, and then Burrow, you're like, okay, no T Higgins, banged up Jamar Chase, maybe to the under, but ultimately, I just can't quite get to the window on any of these.
I like the
Yeah,
Stroud over. That's where I was
Is it
looking.
okay? Do
Yeah,
tell.
I mean, I'm not convinced with the Bengals passing defense. They've given up over this total in three straight versus the Bills, the Seahawks, and the 49ers. I mean, Purdy and Geno Smith aren't particularly great passers as it is. I think they might just try to keep Stroud's confidence high, just keep rolling him. You mentioned these other monster games. Sometimes that's a cause for a concern, I think, with the back down to reality. But I think they may look to ride him here and keep his confidence going and hopefully the results. So
Steve?
nothing but a lean, but I would lean towards Stroud going over in this one as well, but just a lean on that one for me.
Yeah, Houston can't run the ball for anything.
Yeah, that's the
there was
issue there.
there was another word, but I'll go with anything. 49ers and Jaguars, marquee matchup of the day. Purdy, Lawrence. Steve, you like any passing props here?
No, I don't have. I don't. This is a pass for me in this one for passing props.
Corbin?
pass.
Browns at Ravens. I This line on Deshaun Watson is just the books are telling you how terrible Deshaun Watson looks. Too low for me. I would have loved to take an under, but I can't get there on this one. Titans and Buccaneers. I like both quarterbacks. These are two teams that struggle against the pass big time. Tampa's much better against the run. I will say Tennessee's rushing numbers are not very good the last few games. This was a real strong point for them was that they could stop the run. Now, not so much. They're kind of like the Colts. They just had some injuries. Their rush defense isn't nearly as good. So I kind of like Baker Mayfield over 240.5 in this one. So I think both quarterbacks have pretty good days. Packers and Steelers. Corbin, Jordan Love, can I interest you?
Oh, no. I want nothing to do with Jordan Love. At
All
least in the
right.
past, I've got his rushing, but we'll talk about that in the next bit. But I say it every week. If for some bizarre reason you like a Jordan Love over, just wait till halftime. Just wait till because that first half he is not throwing. I don't remember him throwing over 50 yards in any first half, let alone getting to at least half of it. So
Derek Carr and Josh Dobbs. Steve, can I interest you in a Josh Dobbs? Second game with the
Eh,
Vikings? No.
no, this isn't this. There's definitely stronger plays than that one. That's for sure.
Lions and Chargers, Goff and Herbert. Boy, this number's high. Every single quarterback has gone over their passing total against the Chargers. Not been a total this high. I mean, with David Montgomery back, I don't know. I don't think I can get to the window on this one. And Justin Herbert, the Chargers for me still continue to be a stay away. I cannot get a read on them whatsoever. Falcons at Cardinals. Kyler Murray making his return. Corbin, can I little taste with Kyler Murray or hell no, stay away?
not in the passing. Again, get to it in the rush because I do like his rushing over, but no, not for me.
It's
Um,
actually it's actually my favorite yardage prop is the Murray under 225 and a
oh,
half this
okay.
week. It's going to take him a little while to get acclimated to coming back, and he's throwing to some new receivers as well. So that's going to take him some time to get acclimated, like I said. And you got Connor coming back, so that he just came back, so that's going to take a little bit of pressure off Murray throwing today. It's a good pass defense. They do allow some passing touchdowns, but they really limit the quarterbacks through the air. So I think Murray might be. It's going to take him some time to work his way back. So I'm taking the under on that one.
Giants at Cowboys. Who's got the onions to take Tommy DeVito over 158 and a half? Anyone?
Wow.
Anyone? Gonna man
Not a
up and take a
chance.
note? No. All right.
You
Tommy
gonna do
DeVito.
it? Are you taking it?
Um, Not after I read his story about how he lives with his parents and his mom makes like
Makes his
like
bed.
Chicken cutlets.
the chicken cutlets. Like there's living with your parents and then there's what Tommy DeVito said, and I could not be more out. Listen, Mac Jones has been a really, really good, important piece for the Patriots if you're tanking. I think Tommy DeVito is now the number one most valuable player if you want to tank. Like, If the Giants want the number one pick, they can get it. Just start this. Tyrod Taylor, you're done for the year. Have a great season. Here's your clipboard. Tommy DeVito, take us to the promised land. We need that top pick. So yeah, and Dak. I mean, are we agreement that this could go under just because
Yeah,
there ends up being no
exactly.
reason to throw in this game?
I think they
That's
could be up
that's
by so many points by by even the first quarter. It's like, why risk it? But
Yeah.
that's the only reason that number goes under. He's gonna pile up some yardage. I just don't know if he gets there before they just start running them to death at the end of the game.
Commanders, Seahawks. That's a tough one. Jets, Raiders, tough. Broncos, Bills. You guys got Steve. You like anything in these three games?
No, these three are passes for me.
Corbin.
nope.
All right, let's move to the rushing props. Texans and Bengals. I like that under on Devin Singletary. 52.5. Like, boy, they must be expecting a pretty big workload and a pretty good increase in volume and talent from Devin Singletary. I don't get this one at all. You guys like any of these rushing props in this one?
Not for me.
That's a pass for me.
49ers and Jaguars. Steve, you like any rushing props in this one? Travis Etienne's been amazing going up against the 49ers. I don't know. What do you think?
It's just a lean. I do lean the over on ATN, but the 49ers do have a strong run defense, so it's just a lean for me. I do lean over for him this week, though.
Yeah, okay. I just to go back, Devin Singletary, the last 2 weeks he has 23 carries for 56 yards. So
That's a lot of carries. He's
Dude.
going to have a.
that's what I mean.
Jesus.
Cleveland Browns, Baltimore Ravens. Keaton Mitchell, is he the new Justice? My guy Justice, and now it looks like he's been replaced by Keaton Mitchell. Two insane defenses here. Corbin, you want to go back to Deshaun Watson under rushing here in this one?
No. There was. I don't want anything to do with Deshaun Watson,
Yeah.
quite frankly, ever. I was looking at Jerome Ford under. Is it 40.5 now? I think it is. So the Ravens held him even to 26. The Ravens' run defense is really quite solid. I'm expecting the Ravens to at least be level, if not way ahead. So I think the game script helps for that one as well.
Steve,
He only got 44 yards on 20 carries last week. So I don't think he's going to get that same workload to get near that total again. So I like the under.
Steve, rushing props in this one?
I like Lamar over 42.5 in this one. He's been getting getting a lot of carries consistently, and in a tough divisional game. I know that the Browns do have a strong run defense, and he didn't get there last time against them, but I expect him to get there today.
Titans and the Buccaneers. I almost leaned Derrick Henry under 65.5. He had a great matchup against the Steelers, and he did go over. His total was 72.5. And that was against the Steelers, who are, I believe, now 30th in yards allowed, per game rushing. So he technically got over last week, but it certainly wasn't as dominating as I thought. So they only lower it 7 yards. Buccaneers, this is a really good rush defense. I almost lean the under on Derrick Henry. I don't know. I probably not going to get to the window on it, but it's unders in this game. Steve, you like any rushing props?
I'm with you on that one. The Henry, if any direction, I'm going under on him. It's not something I'm going to get to the window on, but like you had mentioned, the Bucs have a strong run defense, and I think the Titans get at him through the air today. So I think Henry, like you had mentioned too, in that game, he had gotten over, but it was a lot of work to get there. So this is a total that it seems just right on. So I lean under though.
Corbin, I got to tell you, I like Aaron Jones and I like A.J. Dillon over their totals. I like fading this Pittsburgh Steelers rush defense. It's not good. And I still keep hearing the same lazy narrative where, like, well, Steelers, tough defense. Like, they're not. They give up a lot of yards. I like Jones. I like Dillon in this matchup.
Yeah, I've actually got 3 rushing props that I like in this one. So, obviously, you've mentioned A.J. Dillon. He's gone over in 5 of he's just running more because Love sucks, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Like we have to funnel it through the run, and the Steelers have gave up five straight games. They have had oppositions rush for over 100 as a team. I think this sets up quite nicely for AJ Dillon, quite honestly. I also also like Jordan Love over some places you can get 13.5. In close games, he's gone over this. He's gone over 5 of 8 as well this season. But the ones that he doesn't tend to be when we're either getting blown out or we're slightly ahead. In close games, he seems to go over. So that's another one. And then also Jalen Warren over 33, 32.5. He had 88 last week. And I feel like his workload's going to start going up. We've mentioned many times the Packers cannot defend the rush at all. Expecting a close game, I could quite easily see all three of those going over, quite honestly. So.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Green Bay, they give up 124 yards per game. They've been decent the last 3 games. But then Pittsburgh, 133 per game.
Yep.
The last 3, they've averaged 115. They're giving up 115 yards. At least 2 of those guys are going over their total, probably.
Exactly.
Maybe 3.
You could take all the ones that we just mentioned, Jones, Dillon, and Love, and I would expect to at least go 2-1, hopefully, with
2-1 at
them.
the worst.
So
2-1 at
yeah,
the worst. So
yeah.
Saints at Vikings. I feel like these are unders. I might actually take Kamara under his rushing total. He's losing touches to Jamal Williams. We see Jamal Williams now have a prop at 20.5. I like Kamara in his receiving, but I do not like his. I do not like his rushing under. This one cracks me up. Brandon Powell, half a yard. Like you're just you're making a bet whether or not the Vikings run the ball with Brandon Powell at least once. So, but Corbin, you like Josh Dobbs. I know that.
Yeah, I'm slightly off it more at 27.5. It's kind of in that range between 24 and 30 that I kind of don't like. If it had been 24, I would have played it. At 27.5, it's a tad high, but I do expect him to have great success running the ball here on a couple. He's still only been there just over a week. There's going to be times where there's miscommunication, just like last week, where he has to make a last ditch run for it. So yeah, it's kind of in that range that I wouldn't play, but it's one that I'm certainly looking at. So,
Steve, anything in this one?
Yeah, I'm looking at Madison over 13.5 rush attempts in this one. No Cam Akers anymore.
Yeah.
And we've seen Madison have 16 carries in each of the last 2 weeks. He's gone over in 3 of the last 4. And we get, banged up TJ Hawkinson here. No Jefferson still. So the weapons are limited for the Vikings. They're going to need a little bit of a ground game. And he's really the only show in town right now. So 13.5 seems like a great number for an over for me.
Good look on that one. Lions at Chargers. I still like Austin Eckler under. He's not gone over his rushing total since week 1.
the Lions have a really good rush defense as well.
One of the best. One of the best.
Exactly.
They are right now. Yeah, number 3. I almost kind of, believe it or not, Chargers number 6. I kind of like Jahmyr Gibbs under 37.5 rushing. I think David Montgomery goes back to his role of getting most of the work there. Gibbs is going to be an explosive guy on screen passes. I don't know. It's unders for these are 2 good rush defenses. These teams are going to pass the ball. So, Steve, anything on this one?
I lean under on Eckler, but it's not something I'm going to get to the window on.
Falcons and Cardinals. James Conner, 52.5 in his first game back. That seems ambitious. Corbin, you like Kyler Murray rushing?
Yeah, I really like the look of Kyler Murray over 23.5. We all know he's a mobile quarterback. It's obviously his first game back. There's going to be just like with Dobbs last week. There's going to be times when the play breaks down or he has a misread or something. He's so fast. I think he's still going to retain the speed. I don't think they would have put him in if they weren't entirely ready for him. So I think I used to do this with Christian McCaffrey. Every time he came back from a long injury, everyone would question if he's still got the speed or if he's ready, and he'd come back and have an explosive game. I think Murray can easily scramble for 23. I might even take an alt over and go for 30 or 40 yards over because I just think he's gonna have a good one personally. So
Steve, you like anything in this one, rushing wise?
This one's a pass for me.
I love Tyler Algier. I just, I
Wow, who would have guessed
just,
that one was
I
coming?
just love him. This is a Cardinals defense that gives up 128 yards rushing a game and 43 and a half for the number one running back on the Atlanta Falcons seems very low. This is the guy that they trust. This is the guy they give the ball when it counts. This is the goal line back. I just love Tyler Algier.
Where's your poster? We need to get you a Tyler Algier poster at this rate. Just to hold up every week when we get to this
I
section.
am starting him on my fantasy team this week. My
Oh,
deep league,
shock.
I am
Shock.
starting him. He's going to score a touchdown against us. Giants and Cowboys. We've talked about Saquon. Steve, you want to reiterate with Saquon on this one?
Yeah, I'm on his under this week, and we're actually getting. When we talked about it earlier in the week, it was 62.5. Now it's up to 64.5. It seems like we talked about how it seems like the books know something, that they're onto something too here. His numbers, he's flown over this total when he plays almost in every game that he's played in. And now we get this low total here. It's because the Cowboys are going to be able to just stack the box here. They're not going to have any fear of DeVito throwing on them. So they'll be able to stack the box, focus in on Barkley, and if this thing turns into a blowout, he could end up, his carries could go way down as the game moves on. It's a low total when you look at it on paper for him, but I'm on board with the under for this one this week.
Corbin, can I interest you in Rico Dowdle, 24 and a half, garbage time?
No.
If they're up. No? Oh, man.
No.
Oh, man. If they're up, it's Dowdle all day in the fourth quarter. I think that number is too low.
Yeah.
I bet he gets 10 carries today. That'd be my guess. So
I could see it too.
Commanders and Seahawks, single worst rushing defense the last 3 games is your Seattle Seahawks. They're giving up 198 yards on the ground. Quarterbacks are running. Running backs are running against them. Last 3 games, they've 6 running backs and 3 quarterbacks have gone over their rushing totals. It's astonishing. So I don't know if it's scheme, injuries, probably a little bit of both, but we talked about it with the Packers going over. I could see Antonio Gibson, Brian Robinson, and Sam Howell all going over their rushing total if Seattle's bad again. Weather's in the second half doesn't look too great. So what do you guys think about this one?
I'm with you on the Howell over. He's not afraid. You know, they don't really design runs for him, but it's such a low total. And you mentioned how the Seahawks have been vulnerable to quarterbacks running. He's not afraid to tuck it and run, and this is a low enough total that I see him going over this one today.
Corbin, you like anything in this one?
Nothing from me. No.
Jets and Raiders. This is a pass for me. Broncos and Bills, another pass for me. You guys like anything rushing wise in this game?
No.
Those are passes for me as well.
Receiving yards. Texans and Bengals, here we go. Boy, that Jamar Chase, 81.5. Bad back. I know he's getting he'll be getting a ton of attention, but I don't know about that one. With Nico Collins out, and if we do like CJ Stroud to throw over 250 yards, got to be looking at Robert Woods and Tank Dell and some of these guys. Corbin, you like any of these receivers for Houston?
Yes. So I have 2 receiving plays on this. So my first one is Noah Brown.
Yep.
I like his normal receiving, but I also like his longest. I mentioned it last week. He's definitely the deep threat on this team. I think it's up slightly. It was at 17.5 or so last week. I think it's at 20 this week. But his work's going up each week. He had 6 receptions for 153 last week. We've mentioned we like Stroud to have a good day passing. So I think that sets up for Noah Brown to have a great day, quite honestly. He's gone over his longest, even at 20.5 in all 3 of the last weeks. So I'm looking at that one. The other one isn't out yet on the books, but it's one I'll mention, is actually Robert Woods under his longest. They've set it at around 18.5 every other week. It'll come out slightly later, hopefully. But he's just, as the same way I mentioned Noah Brown is the deep threat, Robert Woods just is not the deep threat for the Texans. He just doesn't run the deep routes even. I just don't see how he catches that. I don't think he's made it any game this year. So they're the 2 I'm looking at.
Steve, any receiving props?
That's a pass for me on that game.
49ers and Jaguars. Cannot figure out this Jaguars team passing wise. 49ers is a little bit tough. Steve, do you like any receiving props in this one?
There's too many question marks for me in this one with Debo coming back, and I can't get a gauge on the Jags passing at this point either. Both coming off of a bye. It's a wait and see approach for me in this game.
Corbin pass for the receiving props in this one.
Yeah, Evan Ingram. I mentioned it last
Yeah.
week, and it went over. I would look at his receptions. I haven't quite got to playing it yet, but that's the one I would look at for that game. So
Browns and Ravens. I mean, for me in this game, the only way I can look at it, and I know you'll touch on this later, so we can move on to the next game. But it's Mark Andrews,
Yeah.
and that's about it. Titans and Buccaneers. All right, if we like these teams to pass, we should like some of these receiving props. So, Steve, anybody jump off the page here for you?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm on the overs here across the board. I like Hopkins has been Levis's favorite target, and I don't think the Bucks can keep a lid on him today. And Evans as well for that matter. I'm on the overs across the board here. I think this game sets up to be all passing and not a lot of running. You could probably even look towards Okongwu on his over as well. You get it at plus money for a nice low total. It's it's tough to see which ones of these guys you're going to exactly hone in on. I would say Hopkins would be my best option, though he's had such a good rapport with Levis.
Corbin, like anything in this one?
as Steve mentioned, I can't pick one or two of these guys. It kind of just feels like a collective effort. I'd much rather take the passing props for the quarterbacks instead. So
I'll take Rashad White over 24.5. It's lowering. Don't understand why it was 27.5 last week. Now it's 24.5. I'll take the over. He's much better as a pass catching running back. Titans do not give up a lot of passing yards or receiving yards to running backs where they have not faced good defenses. So I'll take Rashad White. Packers and Steelers. Steve, you're going to talk about Deontay Johnson a little bit later. Corbin, do you like any passing or receiving props? No?
no. Normally I would say Aaron Jones at this point, but I like them to have such a good rushing day that why overcomplicate it and try and fit in some receiving when I'd much rather go the rushing route. So
Saints and Vikings, Kamara 32.5. That's the only way I'm looking at this. Look at all these players that they've listed for this game. Like seriously, how many players are gonna catch passes in this game? So, Steve, do you like anything in this one? Yeah.
I'm with you on Kamara. That total is way too low. I love that play this week. He's just been consistently going over this past total, and I don't think he's going to have much success running. So I'm looking at his over for receiving today. Love that play.
Steve, do you prefer Kamara's receiving or his receptions? That's one I struggle to work out with him sometimes. I might go receptions, but do either of you have any thoughts on?
Yeah, it's tough.
It's 4.5. Yeah, 4.5.
Yeah, that's
plus
the thing.
100.
That's the thing is I'd rather almost just go with the 32.5 yards. If he gets a decent yardage on one of them, that'll help him get there. The 4.5, if it was 3.5, I would go receptions, but at 4.5, I'd rather go towards yards.
Yeah.
Lions and the Chargers. It's kind of crazy. I never know what to do with the Chargers. And if you think Herbert's going to throw, then okay, we're looking at the receivers. And then I would just come back to Austin Eckler, 36.5. So, I guess we would go with that one for the Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 84.5. Boy, they really, they're juicing that one up. Jameson Williams, under nothing on this guy may just suck. He may just not be a very good player. But if he is gonna go over and catch a long pass, it's got to be against the worst pass defense in the league. So I might look at some overs, but I cannot figure it out. Maybe
Sam
Laporta.
Laporta, yeah, that's the one I've got written down. He's gone over in 5 of his last 7. He's a great target for Goff. He always looks his way at least on his second or third progression after St. Brown. He always seems to have. He's good at his routes. He always seems to be in space, no matter where they line him up. He just seems to get open. So that's what I'm looking at.
Steve, can you narrow it down?
It's a pass for me on this game. I don't have a good handle on the Chargers right now.
Chargers second worst to tight ends, 69 yards per game. So yeah,
Even better for Laporta
yeah,
then.
there you go. Falcons, Cardinals. I might look at Marquise Brown. When Murray was quarterback, him and Marquise Brown had good rapport. First game back, though, I probably won't. I
It's quite a
probably
high total still, isn't it, for Brown, even with Murray being back.
Yeah,
So
very ambitious. Very ambitious. Giants, Cowboys.
oh, can I
Yeah.
just mention one McBride under 43.5, I think it is. It just seems it's just a huge total, it
Yeah.
seems to me. He's gone under in 7 of 9 games this year. I get Murray's back, but that's still quite a high total for a player. I just don't think he's that great.
Yeah.
So that's one I had quite a strong opinion on. So
Giants and Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb has just been amazing. Him and AJ Brown have just been tearing it up for receivers. Steve, can you do anything receiving props? Giants, Cowboys.
CD Lamb, I'm on the same thing you are here,
Okay.
over 77.5 all day. He's just, my gosh, he's caught 23 passes on 30 targets in the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
He's just piling up the stats, and he's consistently had big games against the Giants. It's obviously the risk here is that the Cowboys get up big and that they're not throwing later in the game like we talked about with Prescott. But I feel like they're going to target him so early and often that he gets there just because he's involved in them involved in the process of them blowing out the Giants here today.
I I mean, there's a chance this just goes so bad for the Giants that a lot of these guys go under, but I'm scared to take any Giants receivers unders because I just don't know what garbage time is going to be like. Like, I kind of like Hyatt under 14 and a half, but then you look at his last 3 games, 19, 75, and 21. So not necessarily gonna take any of those. Commanders and Seahawks. I don't know if there's much receiving value here in this one. Um, I was looking at Kenneth Walker unders, although Washington is just a really bad defense. They give up a ton of yards. Walker under 9.5, maybe. I don't know. Corbin, any receiving props in this game?
no, I can't get there. I was looking at I can't say his surname, but Smith and
Jackson,
Jigler.
just say JSN.
Yeah, I was looking at him, but he's so inconsistent that I just can't get there. He's been slightly better of late, but no, I can't get there with anything officially. So
Yeah, just go back to Kenneth Walker. He has 1 yard, 4 yard, and 6 yards in the last 3 weeks. So not doing anything, not catching passes. I mean, it didn't help that they played Cleveland and Baltimore back to back. How's that for defenses that you faced? Let's just
That'll
say it's
slow
a
you down.
little step down when you get to Washington. So, Steve, any receiving props for this one?
It's a pass for me in this game.
Jets Raiders. My best bet for today is in this game. Corbin, any receiving props with these guys at quarterback?
no, I can't work out what they're gonna do. Quite honestly,
Yeah.
you think Josh Jacobs is struggling for runs, and then suddenly has that huge week, and it's like, are they gonna carry on trying to run it? Are they gonna have any success? It's just there's too many question marks. I feel
Steve,
like.
Jets
It's a pass.
Raiders.
Yeah, it's a pass for me in this one too. Just wait and see on the Raiders after what they did last week if they're gonna obviously repeat that kind of success again. I don't know if they can.
Broncos and Bills. The Bills are just. I'm done betting on Bills props. I think their entire game plan is stupid. Every time I've watched them, I'm like, your game plan is absolutely ridiculous. I hope they lose. I hope their dumb game plans keep costing them wins. I still can't get over the week where they were like, we're going to try and throw it to everybody but Stephon Diggs, and then they lose to the Patriots. To me, that just sums up the Bills as a franchise and as a season.
Yeah.
I got to be honest, I like Cortland Sutton over 45.5, and I kind of like Jerry Jeudy over 52.5. This Bills defense isn't very good. I mean, there's only so many injuries you can absorb as a team, and I think we're seeing it. So, wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if you see the Broncos have a little bit of success. So, Steve, anything in this game?
That's a pass for me on this one right now.
Corbin?
Pass.
All
As you
right.
said, the Bills are just so unpredictable. Who knows?
Yeah.
They'll probably find some other random player that decide to use that. Who knows?
We talked about this sack prop from a listener. We talked about it last night. Dean Uford, I believe, he sent this in, and the line for whatever reason has moved in the opposite direction, and I got to tell you, this is such a great find. So Boye Mafe is wreaking havoc for the Seahawks. He did not have a sack in the first game of the season. He's had a sack every single game since then. This was over 7.75 sacks. So he had to get a full sack by himself. Now he just needs half a sack to cash. Sam Howell's the most sacked quarterback in the league. 44 sacks. Like, he gets sacked multiple times every single game. You're only getting it at minus 125, and now Mafe doesn't even need to have a full sack. All he needs to do is be near Howell when he gets sacked.
Needs to breathe on him as he's going down.
Yeah. I think this is such a great viewer submission. I love it. I think I'm gonna play it with my own money. So I gotta give shout out to this play. I think this was a great one. So, any props we didn't mention?
Not from me. I was looking at the field goals again against the Bucks. It only just scraped over with the running back kicking the kick last week. That was a huge sweat for me, quite honestly.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Painful experience watching them go, like, every time we're in kicking range, it's either go for it on 4th down or go for a 2-point conversion. I'm like, just kick the field goal. But they eventually did. So
I could see field goals in this Browns Ravens game. That screams multiple field goals in that one. So all right, let us take a look here at, let's do some same game parlays here. So Corbin, you got one for us, and yeah, we mentioned Mark Andrews.
Yes.
Just it's a gift that keeps on giving.
Keep it simple. Andrews has cashed this every single week. I think I've mentioned it almost all of those weeks. So it's Andrews to have 4+ receptions, Andrews to have 25+ receiving yards. So on Andrews, obviously he's cleared it every game. But interestingly, last game he had 9 receptions for 80 yards. Slightly worries me going that much over what he normally does, but he also had 5 receptions for 80 yards in their matchup earlier this season, which was a blowout. So I think it's still great. The good thing about the Ravens, however bad you think Lamar Jackson is at throwing, all the rushing confuses the defenses. That's almost their first thought. Everyone thinks of Ravens and they automatically go for either Jackson rushing or one of their many running backs to run through. And Andrews just seems to like sneak through every week. He just gets there every single week, almost 4 exactly, quite often. And then also Ravens plus 7.5. I like them in this matchup. They obviously won earlier in the year, 28-3. They've covered 7.5 even in the games they've lost this year, and they've covered in 7 of the last 8 head-to-head matchups. The one they didn't was when Tyler Huntley was at quarterback, so it's quite excusable for that one. So all 3 of those parts get you minus 145, and I really like that one this week. So just trying to keep it simple.
I do too. I have to add in Browns number 1 against tight ends. They only allow 19.38 yards. You go back and look, they've played nobody at tight end except the one game Mark Andrews, and he torched them 5 for 80. So yeah, so some of those stats can be a little bit deceiving. I mean, you look at, wow, Browns only allow 19 yards, and you look at, well, they played teams that don't even really throw to the tight end, and then they play the one time against a good tight end. And
we don't even necessarily particularly need the yards here. It's not it's more the receptions, the 4 receptions. So if he's having 4 receptions, I think he comfortably gets to 25. Hence putting the 2 together. So.
Sure. All right, let's take a look at the alternate universe here, Corbin. So the Cowboys, you're kind of combining into a same game parlay, correct?
Yes.
Right.
In effect, there's 2 parts to this Cowboys part. So we have the first part. You've missed off the part there. We'll get to that in a minute. But we have the Titans plus 10.5 versus the Bucks. I mean, we've mentioned it. I'm quite impressed by Levis. I think he can pass on this Bucks defense. I think he's going to have quite a lot of success. They've covered in all but 1 game this season, and the Bucks have only covered this 10.5 in 1 game versus the Saints. Mentioned the Cowboys. I like their total over 20.5 and to win by at least 2.5. So it kind of it's basically them to win and go over 20.5. We've mentioned it. Quite honestly, the Giants just suck. They suck on both sides of the ball. I'm not sure if they're going to have any success anywhere. They've easily covered, the Cowboys have in all 3 of their home games, scoring 43, 38, and 30. So easily clearing both of those. And 9 of the last 10 head-to-heads this has hit. And then the additional piece, Texans plus 21.5 versus the Bengals. Don't need to state the obvious, but that's obviously like 3 touchdowns or like more than 3 touchdowns, because the 3 touchdowns just gets them to 21. Huge total. The Bengals are not great versus the pass. I think, as I mentioned, Stroud should have another big game, keep the momentum going. And the Texans have covered this every game, and the Bengals' biggest win this year is by 14. So they'd need an extra touchdown and a field goal at least to go over this. So all 3 of those parts together.
Love it. So we're looking at something happened here. Hold on.
So yeah, all of those parts together get you minus 145. So
Okay. Titans, Cowboys, Texans, love it. All right, Steve, let's do actually guys here, let's talk real quick. Plays we have, we just have an NFL best bet. Having a good week so far. So the Toronto Argonauts can they can be. I'm trying to get them out of my head, but everything else has been going really good. NHL's on a really nice run. Going to pass on NHL and NBA for today. Steve, you and I, Sundays in the NBA.
It's amazing, huh?
What
That's
is
why I don't know what it is, and it's not just us. You hear it everywhere. It's Sundays is the NBA massacre day for whatever reason. It's just I'm almost ready to. I'm treading lightly on Sundays. That's for sure in the NBA. At the very least, maybe staying off of it completely.
I'm not putting in any plays on NBA on Sundays. I've just already made up my mind. I don't know if I don't know what it is, but it's a legit trend that we look back last season. It was like we never win on Sundays. Fine on other days, but Sundays in NBA are just like So
It almost seems like why struggle with it, right? Like why chase trying to go positive on Sundays when all the other days really go well compared to that day.
Yeah, so NFL best bet that's up. So we'll just try and pull a couple units here off of the Sunday card. All right, guys, hit the like button. Make sure you leave us a comment. If you're still alive in Survivor, make sure you leave your Survivor pick. We're going to go over anytime touchdown props, 3 NFL best bets, and then we have our big announcement. So, Steve, walk us through the anytime touchdown scores this week.
Yeah, so every week, guys, Patriots, hopefully they're getting the job done for us. They haven't gotten it done yet, but they should be playing when you watch this video and hopefully getting the job done. Dotson, on the other hand, 2 in a row. So that's been panning out. He has 3 on the year. For this week, I'm looking at CeeDee Lamb. We mentioned him earlier. He's had a ton of production recently. We talked about tons of targets, tons of yards the last 2 weeks. Scored a couple of touchdowns as well. And he's always had big games against the Giants. So I'm looking at him scoring today. Mike Evans, this is my favorite one this week. Based on the value at plus 170. And he scored so frequently. He scored in 5 of 8 games. Titans struggling against the pass. And he's just scored against all the vulnerable pass defense that he's faced. Vikings, Bears, Eagles, Bills when they were banged up, teams that struggle against wide receivers. So that's my favorite one this week. And then we're looking at a first TD split here. Laid out the perfect plan last week with the Chargers. So the Jets, the plan here is the Jets, they've only scored 1 first touchdown all season long. It was against the Giants, so not a lot of bragging rights in that one. But last week we laid out the perfect plan to split the bet between Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler. And Darius Davis decides to run back a punt return for a touchdown, killing that first touchdown play, only for Eckler the next time the Chargers to have the ball to run one in from the 1-yard line and score a touchdown to rub salt in the wounds of anyone that had that play. But this week we have another good one here. We're going Jacobs plus 425 and Myers plus 1,200. We saw Jacobs rejuvenated last week with 26 carries for 98 yards, I believe. He scored a first touchdown once this season. Myers is the guy that's tied for the league lead for first touchdowns this year. He scored a bunch of them. And like I said, the Jets giving up they've only scored the first touchdown once all season long. The Raiders on the other side of things have actually scored the first touchdown in 7 of their 9 games this season. And then for the pay dirt parlay, we'll wrap up CeeDee Lamb, Mike Evans. We laid out the case for both of them with Christian McCaffrey. He's chasing history today, looking for his 18th consecutive game, scoring a touchdown. So I got to see the 49ers are going to figure out a way to get him into the end zone today. And he's just been consistently scoring touchdowns every week. So wrap those all up for plus 780. Let's cash our first one.
All right. Put the punt return for a touchdown just to
It
watch.
killed me.
Oh man!
I knew it was going to happen. Once that punt return went to the end zone and it was official, I was like, okay, is it going to be Allen or Eckler? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure enough.
It is so true. All right. I believe we have our 3 best bets that are coming up. Steve, why don't you start with Deontay Johnson? You know I love Deontay Johnson. We talked about him, but this is your best bet, right?
Yeah, I love this play this week. Over 62.5 receiving yards seems like an awfully low total for a guy who's cleared it in each of his last 3 weeks with 78, 85, and 90 yards. Jair Alexander, doubtful here with a shoulder injury. I don't expect him to play today. They just traded away Rasul Douglas, so the secondary's weakened here for the Packers. And they play zone defense 81% of the time. That's the 7th highest rate in the league. And Johnson has taken advantage of zone coverage this year. The Steelers have targeted him 17 times since he's come back in the last 3 weeks, which is a team high against the zone. So I'm looking at him with the weakened cornerbacks and eating up this zone coverage today.
Corbin, just going with McCaffrey.
I'm just keeping it simple. Steve's already mentioned it. They are going to find a way to get him the ball. The only problem is it's negative minus 180. So I may look to put that with the Cowboys or something to bring it down, but just keeping it simple. I just think he's going to get a touchdown, and that's simple as that.
Devontae Adams under 57.5 receiving. So I liked this play. And then last night I saw him and Aaron Rodgers were out last night. I'm sure they were bitching and talking about their current teams and everything. So Devontae Adams has 34 and 11 the last 2 weeks. Those are his receiving totals. And if there's one thing that the Jets can do really, really well, it is play good defense in the secondary. So not only does Devontae Adams have to try and get open against that secondary, he has to try and have the quarterback throwing the ball accurately when he gets open. And that has just not been happening. He's gone under this total in 5 straight. He's not even catching that many passes, 4 and 1. And this is a game, last week he had 4 catches, 34 yards. That was a game they won by 24 points. Then you go, okay, well, maybe they get some garbage time. Well, they got beat by Detroit and he had 1 catch for 11 yards. It's a nightmare season for Devontae Adams. I don't see it getting any better. I just think he's going to be too easy to lock up. So, Devontae Adams.
You have to feel his motivation probably isn't going to be that high. The Raiders are on downward spiral. He doesn't want to be there. What's really in it for him to go out there every week and try and put up huge numbers?
Yeah, what is he going to go across the middle? No shot. Like, is he going to reach for a ball when there's a safety closing in on him? Absolutely not. No way.
And he better not vulture that first touchdown from me either. He's my one concern. He's my one concern out of those guys.
All right, so those are your 3 NFL best bets. Devontae Adams under, Deontay Johnson over receiving, and Corbin likes Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown. So guys, hit the like button. All right, it is time for our special big announcement. I'm going to say a few words. So I tried to write some stuff out. So here we go. So we start our shows with something called positive vibes. It's a way for us to get in a positive mindset by celebrating wins and acknowledging the success of other people. Congratulating someone else when they do something good is one way to be positive. Another way is to know when someone has potential they haven't reached yet. And if you can help someone achieve their goals and you have that opportunity, you should do whatever it takes to lift and elevate others. My career at WagerTalk has been better since I met Steve. My life has been better since I met Steve. But Steve has bigger dreams and aspirations, and Steve has greatness. He's ready to forge his own path in this business, and I know he's going to be amazing. Steve, I'm going to miss working with you every day, but I'm going to love seeing you succeed because smart, motivated, and hardworking people like you will ultimately succeed. So, lay out what your future path is for us.
So I'm thrilled and excited to let you guys know that I'm going to be joining the team over at Sports Memo as a handicapper. I've made it over there. I got the news just last week, and I'm really excited to join the team, to start firing off some winners. And yeah, it's a little bittersweet, man, because it's been a great couple of years working together, and we'll still work together. I know we will, and we're going to be doing the Road to Millions together still, and working together. I don't think we'll ever lose this connection that we've had together, but man, we've had a lot of good times together the past couple of years, and I'm looking forward to keeping going with that. You know what I mean? And so I'm really excited. Like I said, a little bittersweet to not be working with you every day, but I'm looking forward to it.
Well, you deserve it. Absolutely. Forever, we're going to be doing Wednesdays. We're doing the Unbreakable Sports Record Hall of Fame. That'll never
Yes,
go
sir.
away. Sunday shows will never go away. So for the NFL season. So, but yeah. So Steve is over at Sports Memo, putting out his own plays. Steve, you got a play up this morning, correct?
Yep, I do. I have a NFL best bet, my first play that I've fired off so far. It starts at 1 o'clock. So if you go over to my page over at Sports Memo, it's locked and loaded on there. I also have a free play loaded for today. That's a 1 o'clock game as well. If you want to check that one out, I actually just laid out the case for it on the show. So, but you can double down on it and check it out there. But yeah, so check it out. My first NFL best bet, and looking forward to cashing it and getting right on track with the winner here.
Well, thank you for all you've done, Steve. And yeah, I mean, like we're gonna be working. I say we're not working together every day. We're still pretty much working behind the scenes. But I'm excited to watch it, man. It's gonna be amazing experience, and I know you're gonna do well. So congratulations.
I really appreciate it, man. You when we met, we didn't know how, where this would end up. You know what I mean? And it's been a life-changing experience for me, bro. I'll always, like I've told you before, I'll never forget it, and I'll always appreciate it. And I'm looking forward. I'm excited. Like I said, I'm so excited for the opportunity, man. But I'm also it's a little bit of a bummer to not be working together every single day like we do every morning together and stuff. But we will be doing it, I'm sure, 2 or 3 days a week at least. So
Absolutely, absolutely. So. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's Road to Millions. Good luck on all your plays. Remember, don't overexpose yourself with too many units today. If you're having a great week, you got some units to play with, make sure you lock in that bankroll. And if you're struggling a little bit, just pull back, lower the units a little bit. No need to make a bad situation worse. Make sure we follow all the rules on Road to Millions, and I will be back tomorrow for Monday's edition of Road to Millions. We're going to go over Monday Night Football. We're going to go over our bankroll reset as well as NBA and NHL. Good luck on all your plays, everyone. I'll see everyone tomorrow on the Road to Millions.
Good
good
luck.
luck.